and welcome back to my channel. So for those who don't know, I'm Alicia and I've been interviewing inspirational people. I wanted to find out exactly what makes people and businesses different and how they inspire others. This week, I interviewed burnt lemon chef James Peck. Here's how it went. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this. If you could just begin with introducing yourself.
I'm James, and I'm the co-founder and director at Burnt Lemon Chefs. Burnt Lemon Chefs is like a collective of local talent. We're a small niche company, and we specialise in high-end private dining, weddings, catering events, demos. We do all the cookery shows as well, so we do live stage demos. It's just a niche chef-led catering company, and we think we found our niche in the market where other catering companies haven't.
Okay, so what exactly is that niche?
We specialise in like Japanese barbecue, so you can have like a Japanese barbecue tabletop dinner party. There's no one else around here doing that. I think the only person I've ever seen is like London Way that does that. The way we're bespoke, we have a chef's table, so we have a private table of 8 in our kitchen, so you can come to us and have a 9-course tasting menu in our kitchen. No one else is doing that. Our weddings are bespoke menus around what the client likes to eat, not pick from one of these menus. The brownie soup, we like to be a bit more special and create USP around our food. We like to think that we're at the forefront of innovation when it comes to menu writing for weddings and events.
Okay, so what inspired you to start Burnt Lemon Chefs?
I wanted to work for myself because in every great restaurant, you have the back end of the week, which is the business end. It's really busy, but during the week, to keep bums on seats, you're cooking burgers, you're cooking fish and chips, you're cooking stuff that keeps the business going. I wanted to just cook the food that I wanted to cook for people that wanted to eat it, and not worry about a restaurant and worrying about people coming to you. I wanted to be able to go wherever, cook whatever, whenever. That freedom, I think, comes with being a chef and being creative and not being pinned to a demographic at a venue. Cook on a barbecue in the middle of a football ground for 70 people cooking along on Instagram, or going to someone's house and cooking a 3-course meal. You just don't get that in a restaurant. And also, you don't have to worry about staffing as much. So it gives me that sort of alleviation of pressure.
Cool. So with regards to being creative, I am going to talk about that in a bit. First of all, what age did you start cooking?
I joined the army at 16, just turned 17, and went into the Royal Military Catering Corps. So literally from 16, I started cooking. Before that, food tech wasn't going well for me. Food was never supposed to be a part of my life like it is now. Yeah.
What made you go for that then in the army?
I failed my grades. I needed A to C's in 5 subjects, and maths being one of them. And I got A to C's in everything but maths and geography, which I didn't need. So I failed my maths. I got a D in maths, and they said join up as a chef. And then when you join your regiment, redo your learning, redo your grades, and you can transfer. And I joined the army, and within 6 months, I redone my grades. I got the qualifications I needed, but by then I had the itch. It was already too late. It had me.
And what would you say you learnt from the army?
To keep a cool head under pressure, being in different situations, and having to adapt quickly, which is good for my business now because every day is different. We're in a different venue, or each situation is different. It could be a high-end fine dining event one night, or it could be a buffet the next. And every day you just need to keep adapting to where you are, where you're cooking, the clients, and also diligence, presentation, timekeeping, things that you don't necessarily get in Civvy Street unless you are really self-motivated. So military chefs are not always going to be well-renowned chefs, but they're instilled this discipline that you don't get in any other sort of career outside of the forces. Timekeeping, presentation, just attention to detail. So I was very strong in that department, and I had all the learning to do with the food side once I left the army. So
I can imagine that that's helped a lot with your business now.
yeah, definitely. I Instead of feeding like 300 hungry squaddies, feeding 9 people on a table in a private dining, it's actually just going from one extreme to the other. If it wasn't for that training, it'd probably be a bit harder to adapt to different numbers, and cooking inside someone's house that you've never been before has its own challenges. So keeping a cool head under pressure has definitely held me in good stead, 100%.
Oh, I can imagine. And what would you say for anyone who's wanting to, take that leap, start their own business?
I think in our industry, especially, I know it's similar in a lot of industries, you have to get your basics down. You can't just start a business in food and think you're going to flourish. You really do have to put a few years in, I'd say, first, to really be able to problem solve. So you get to a client's house, something hasn't worked in a recipe, experience is going to help you get through it. And you can't teach experience. So I would definitely say go and work somewhere, go and work in the best place accessible to you. If there's not many great places local to you, I would travel. I went to London as soon as I left the army and tried to learn my craft at the highest level I could, without having Michelin star experience. I'd say just, you've got to be a sponge. You've got to learn so much, because if you want people to come work for you, you're going to have to be able to teach them. And if you haven't learned enough yourself, you're not going to be able to put value into other people. So I think really creating like, I don't know, a folder of knowledge in your head that one day, if you ever need to access it, it's there, which you can't get straight away. So time is massively, I think, it needs to be timing. You can't just pop a business out of your bum and expect it to work. You really do have to sort of, and for me, I was a head chef for a few years. I understood a good amount of business management within a job already, which held me in good stead for starting my own business. There's a lot of things you don't account for when you go into your own business and you're not working for someone else's, like the electric comes out of your bill, PAYE, you have to do with payroll. It's just not just cooking anymore, which it was as a job. So just really doing your research, making sure that you're ready for what comes with the responsibility of having people work for you.
Okay, and you said creativity is obviously like a key thing being a chef. How do you come up with different ideas to kind of keep that creativity alive?
Nothing, everything's been done before in cooking, especially. You just got to think hundreds of years of cooking. It's been done one way or another before. You have to find your own style. So I'll take inspiration from something as silly as a cocktail, like think like the pina colada, coconut, pineapple, rum. I can put those ideas into a dessert. You can take inspiration from anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a plate of food. I've taken inspiration from an American hot dog before, which sounds crazy, but the way we've made like corn dog with like a pickled mustard seed and a smoked ketchup and then a bread element, like you can just take elements of things before and then make it your own. But I think as a chef, it's very hard to find your identity within 10 years of cooking. I think when you're at the 10-year point of learning, you'll be able to start finding the sort of style you like. So then when you go to look for dishes in creativity, you're sort of already motivated by the things you love to cook from experience. So for me, 10 years of cooking with it, banquet in the army to high end to sort of going to like high end restaurants in London, I now prefer cooking on a barbecue. And it's taken me 10 years to realize that actually I've gone full circle. I love the most simplest of things, cooking steak on coal with a really good butter and this, really simple cooking. So for me, I think you'll find creativity within the part of the industry that you love. But I think that comes with time again. It's another timing.
Okay. And what would you say has been the biggest challenge and how have you overcome it?
The biggest challenge I faced within nearly 3 years of having the business is it's actually going to be staff, making sure that everyone that comes to work for you is inspired, organised and managed whilst you have the day-to-day pressures of a small business. So making sure that people are in the right place at the right times, making sure they've got what they need. You can't switch off for a second. The second you switch off, you will let someone down when they come to work and got a list of jobs and they go in the fridge and you haven't ordered the right stuff. It's a constant thing. The biggest challenge is organisation. Mm-hmm. I'm quite lucky. I'm quite organised as a chef, but you can't overlook it. You have to sit down every night. So like literally, my office, pen and paper. I have to constantly make lists, otherwise I'm going to forget something. So letting the little details slip through the net, making sure that things are where they need to be for when they need to be it for you and your staff to be able to do your job. because no one else is ordering. You know, you're the last stop. So for me, the biggest challenge is just making sure that everyone in the team has got what they need to do their job at all times, whilst being busy, thinking for everyone else. Don't just think for yourself, you're thinking for 9 or 10 other people. So that's the biggest challenge.
Okay. And in terms of being a chef, obviously everyone always thinks, you know, a chef sits out the back, does the cooking, but I know, like with you, you do talking to clients as well.
Oh yes, there's a lot of forward-facing interaction. Yeah.
So do you think you have to be quite sociable as well?
You have to be. I've had quite a few chefs trial for my business, and you can be amazing at cooking, but if you can't hold a conversation or captivate your audience or talk them through, or you can't look them in the eye, it makes it a little harder to sort of make that experience they're looking for. They want a chef to come out and be like, right, this is what I've cooked for you. I think you're going to love it. This is how I've cooked it. If you come out and you're all sheepish and you drop the plates and run, with eating, it's not just, it sounds silly, it's not just the eating and the food that's important. It's the whole experience. You want to sit down, feel comfortable. And at the end of the day, chefs, you're cooking food. It's almost like you're inviting people into your house. You want to make them happy by feeding them the food that you love to cook. So it's that full circle package. So I find it easy to talk to clients because I believe in what I've done. I'm confident. I've got no reason to be worried about anything. I'm confident. And again, that is a time thing. So I think young chefs struggle. We've got a couple of younger members of staff, and I make them, I've got 2 guys now that are really young, and I make them talk to the table before I do.
Okay.
And show that maturity and that diligence in front of a customer is just as important. So that's something I instill into them. So I think being able to hold your own and be confident when you talk to clients is wicked. It's not for everyone. Some kitchens are in the back. You don't see the chef. But I think with what makes our business special is that we almost serve the food 99% of the time already. So we cook it, we serve it. So from plate to customer, we see the whole process. So no one's going to know our product better than we do because we've cooked it. So yeah, I think that's massively important. It's definitely a string to the bow, I think, for chefs.
On your Instagram, you've got BBC2 Chefs Brigade.
Yeah.
What's all that about? Explain.
Last summer, I was lucky enough to be part of a 6-part series that aired on BBC2 called the Chefs Brigade. So basically, a very, very famous and accomplished chef called Jason Atherton, Michelin star chef. He's worked at literally voted best restaurant in the world 10 years running. He's worked there. He's done it all. Anything in cooking, he's done it all. Worked for Gordon Ramsay for like 15 years. He's the man. He took 10 chefs from all different backgrounds, me being one of them. And we went 6 different locations across Europe, Norway, Italy, 2 in France, 2 in Spain. And we competed against Michelin star restaurants at their own food. So we go.
That's what we do. That's all we do. Every day. We get in and we cook with our hearts, right? There's not a single dish you didn't serve tonight what I didn't feel I wasn't proud to put my name to. And that's the first time I've said that. But tonight, I'd have stood on that pass, and if customers had come in the kitchen and said, "Can I meet the chef?" I'd have said, "That's me. And this is my brigade." You want to know the score?
Yes, James.
I'm going to tell you.
Their own food. So we go there for a week. We'd learn their food. They cook us a menu. Then we had to cook it back to them, and then judges blind scored our menu versus theirs. So we basically had a week to learn their menu in their country. You know, French menu in France with a week. So basically, you had a job to sort of bring a brigade together. And then in this brigade, there was 10 of us. There was the opportunity to get booted off at any point, get promoted, get demoted. One day you could be in charge of the team. One day you could be put in pot wash. And over the course of the show, the competition got harder and harder. The restaurant got more and more complex. People we became quite close to, got, you know, pushed down, kicked up and down, left, right and centre. And it was a crazy experience, and one I won't forget. And I'd done 6 weeks of that. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it's almost like a little badge of honour. I put it on my Instagram just so people can see, actually, that's quite a cool thing I don't want to let go of. That's something I want to remember forever. And it's also done wonders for the business. It's a little stamp of approval that we've gone through some amazing restaurants and learnt some amazing things, and I'm using that in my own business. So yeah, last summer it was just a 6-part series. And it was interesting how it all unfolded.
By the sounds of it, then you like got headhunted as such.
I think I fitted a stereotype they were looking for.
Okay.
They were quite honest about that. So when you see the cast, you'll see that there's strong stereotypes in different areas of catering, chefing, whatever you want to call it. So definitely found out that my stereotype of being sort of ex-military, leadership capability, sort of my age bracket against the other contestants. So yeah, I thought I was slightly pigeonholed into being that leadership role from the get-go. I don't think they necessarily picked me thinking that I was going to be peeling spuds or washing the pots for 6 weeks, which I'd hope they didn't anyway. But yeah, I was really lucky. It was a case of there was 20 spots and then 10 replacements and 10 first team, and I got picked and I made the first team and then didn't get replaced. So
sounds like an amazing experience. Now, what
it was unreal.
say for any a bit of advice for anyone wanting to become a chef?
People wanting to become a chef, it rolls off the tongue because we say it quite a lot, and I say it to my youngsters because actually I'm really shocked that I've got a couple of youngsters and I haven't had to remind them of it. They've come in and actually the advice that I'd give, they're already installed in. So if you want to become a chef, you have to love cooking, but you have to appreciate that there's going to be a sacrifice. You can't go out on the weekends and make all those weddings and make all your friends' parties and all those nights out if you want to be a good chef or be at the top of your game or work in a good place, because the sacrifice of working and learning in these best restaurants is that when everyone else is socializing, that's when you're grafting, that's when you're learning your craft for the future, whether it is to have your own restaurant and get Michelin stars or have your own catering company or whatever you want to do. There is a sacrifice. You have to be willing to sacrifice. It's not a party all the way through. Chefs work hard, they play hard, but ultimately coming into chefing isn't like the TV where you just gallop around the kitchen cooking loads of beautiful things with loads of flames. You've got prepared to clean as much as you cook. There's paperwork that goes with it. And when you're learning, you just pin your ears back and you write everything in notepad and pen. I'd say that is the biggest tip. Absorb everything, the good and the bad things in catering. So when it comes to you that you have to lead a team, some of the lessons you've learned from previous employers, you think, actually, I want to adopt a different strategy. You absorb the good and the bad, and you make of it what you will. But pen and paper is back and prepare to sacrifice your going out time. If you're a massive socialite and you love going out on the piss every weekend, I wouldn't say chefing's for you unless you find a little dinner lady job. But then again, it's what you class as being a chef, I guess. So. Not that there's anything wrong with being a dinner lady. I'm not slating dinner ladies, love them. I'm saying there's chefs that want to work in restaurants and want to progress themselves, and then there's cooking jobs, I'd say, and I think that falls into a cooking job.
Brilliant bit of advice. So finally, I have 10 very quick questions just to run through. Are you ready?
Steady, go.
One bit of food you don't like?
Wet mushrooms.
Wet mushrooms? Never heard of that one.
Wet mushrooms, like just you bog standard catering mushrooms, like flat mushrooms. They're just wet and slimy. I don't like them.
Favourite course to make?
The starter, because I think it can be first intro into a dinner party and it can be quite elaborate. Main courses generally just got to be tasty, hot and creative, yes, but your starter has definitely got to be the one that captures your imagination. I think you can tell a lot about someone's starter because you walk in, you know what the rest of the night's going to be. So my favourite course is your first course, whether it's canapes or a snack or a starter. The first course that the client gets, that's the one that I try and be more creative and artistic with and try and be a little bit progressive.
Okay. Can you learn to cook?
Oh, anyone can learn to cook. I think if you enjoy anything, you can learn it. Anyone can learn to cook. My mother couldn't cook to save her life. Chicken pie used to be a chicken soup or a broth, and this puff pastry used to just swim about, and you used to have to catch it. Now my mum sort of knows a little bit more about cooking. She was honestly a write-off, and since I've become a chef, I've given her some tips and stuff like that. And so yeah, if my mum can, anyone can, and I mean that.
I'll tell my dad that then. What would you say has been your biggest failure cooking moments?
My biggest failure cooking moment was, I remember it massively, doing a dinner party one of our first dinner parties. We've been going a matter of weeks. And remember when I said earlier about being organised and making sure you're having the job. So tipping up to the client's house to do a dinner party, forgetting that they said they've just moved in and they had no ovens or anything installed, and we had to bring all the kit and equipment. So actually get into the client's house, no hobs, no ovens, nothing, no way of cooking anything, pots and pans, forgetting to go through my emails and where it actually said, we don't have anything in the house, you will need to bring all your equipment. And having to rely on a neighbour down the road giving us a toasting machine. We managed to get 3 courses out the door with a toasted press. So that was a massive failure. But from that failure, I've learned so much from it. Now every dinner party gets checked meticulously with the checklist. So from that failure was a pro that I've never done it since. I've never made a similar mistake. So that's definitely the biggest. And I still have PTSD about it now, actually, when I think about it. The second the penny dropped, when I walked into the kitchen, it was completely empty. And it was 7 o'clock at night and we were supposed to be serving dinner at 7:45. Yeah.
Well, that's fun and games.
Until someone doesn't get dinner.
Yeah. Have you ever cooked something what someone doesn't like?
Not that anyone's really told me. I'm assuming there's going to be one time where I've put something in front of someone and they've maybe put a brave face on or they weren't too sure. I remember that I done a chimichurri for he's actually my accountant now, but at the time he was a customer. And I'd never heard of chimichurri. Coming straight out of the army, not many squaddies would have chimichurri. It's just gravy on everything. So he asked me to make him a chimichurri on the fly. And I quickly Googled it and tried to put it together. And I had the ingredients, but not the amounts. So pretty much just gave him like this bowl of vinegar with a little bit of herb floating in it. And it must have been so awful. And I thought, oh, that must have been how he wants it. And the way he was describing it was like a vinegary based sauce. So I just, and yeah, he let me know he wasn't a fan of it. Big time.
Cat or dog?
Dog. Don't mind the cat, but we're a dog household. I've got a little French bulldog, and I've locked her out tonight. Otherwise, there'd be hell to pay.
Oh.
You'll just be seeing this crocodile just flying over the screen, and this head just poking up here. So yeah, dog.
Cute.
Dog and rabbits. Actually, we've got rabbits now as well. So dog and rabbits.
Aww. Gordon Ramsay or Gino Campo?
2 complete different chefs for me. Two different styles. Gordon Ramsay has completed everything there is in cookery: 3 Michelin stars, a successful business, a restaurant training every category of cooking, whether it's steakhouse, fine dining, brasserie. Gino Campo for his humour, and I could watch him all day on TV. But Gordon.
And food shows or TV?
Food shows. I think food shows doubles up as my TV now, to be fair. Yeah, food shows for sure. A lot of YouTube. I'll be honest with you, I don't watch them. In the last 2 years, Netflix has literally gone ballistic on cookery shows. You can't go 2 minutes without scrolling past a really good series of cookery shows, where it's Chef's Table, Ugly Delicious, The Chef Show, anything like that. So YouTube actually for cookery programs, and Netflix, massive.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Now, I hope you all enjoyed that interview with James. There's a couple of points that we can all take from that interview. The first point that I would like to talk about is to keep calm and keep cool under pressure. Because if you panic and you don't keep cool, then you're probably not going to resolve the issue as quickly and as efficiently as what you could if you keep calm, keep cool, and keep focused. The second point that I would like to talk about is when James was talking about the experience. So if you're going into an industry, it's important that you make sure you get experience within that field, because it will help you in the long run and it will help you to know how to problem solve. Now you can follow James here. If you have someone that inspires you, comment below. I'm always so interested to find out who others find inspirational. Likewise, if you have an inspirational story to tell, comment below, drop me a message on social media, or even drop me an email. On Sunday at 4 o'clock, I'll be speaking with up-and-coming blogger and influencer Daniela Elliott. If you've enjoyed this video, comment below, let me know what you think, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe. See you all on Sunday. See you later.